Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Oh, we can do a little better than that. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Now I feel welcomed. It's great to see all of you. Filling up our Beit Midrash with presence, with spirit, with a readiness for the arrival of Shabbat. Open up your soul to a pause. After a week that has been filled, I hope, with some beauty and some love, probably with a fair amount of tsuris as well. And so we hit pause on all of the distractions and allow the restoration of Sabbath Eve to reach into our hearts and our souls. You are home. Shabbat Shalom.
Found this poem that I hope will allow us to sort of settle into this moment. Titled Inside the Light. A rainbow shines inside the light. If you could be the dewdrop, you would forever see it. Stillness waits inside the light. If you could be the sky, you would forever feel it. Sunrise dawns inside the light. If you could be the horizon, you would forever find it. Freedom flows inside the light. If you could be the wind, you would forever ride it. Beauty rises inside the light. If you could be the sparrow, you would forever reach it. Mystery pulses inside the light. If you could be the wonder, you would forever know it. Majesty reigns inside the light. If you could be the wisdom, you would forever sense it. Faith rests inside the light. If you could be the eagle, you would forever hold it. Your soul glows inside the light. If you could be yourself, you would never leave it. Yedid Nefesh, page 10.
Yedid Nefesh, Hava Rachaman, Hava Rachaman, Nishoch Avdecha, El Ritzonecha, El Ritzonecha. Words are right there in the middle of the page. Try it with us. Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh. Hava Rachaman. Hava Rachaman. Mishoch Avdecha. El Ritzonecha. Yarutz Avdecha Kemo Ayar Nishtachabeh Yedid Nefesh Hava Rachaman Hava Rachaman רצונך, רצונך. The Sabbath bride awaits our welcome. Custom in our tradition, brought to us about 500 years ago by the mystics, was that we were to look upon this moment, this little dance between the end of the week and the beginning of Shabbat, as with the same kind of anticipation that we might bring if we were attending a wedding. And we were about to see the bride in all of her beauty enter the space. That's exactly how we're supposed to greet Shabbat, with that type of love and hope, positive spirit for what this day of restoration can bring. And so I invite you to open your hearts with that kind of love. As we join together in Lecha Dodi, the words can be found on pages 20 and 21. We're going to sing verses 1 and 2 on page 20, and then the top and bottom verses on page 21. So it's verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And we'll make sure you're in the right place. Don't worry about that. Lend us your voice and your spirit in welcoming Sabbath, the bride. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'diburecha, ishmi'anu el ha'meyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, v'shem u'tiferet v'tehillah. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki im mekor habracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh v'machshava tefila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Top of 21. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki ba'orech u'mihori, uri uri shir daberi, kevod Adonai alayich nigra. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. We're at the bottom of page 21. I invite you to stand and face the entrance into our Beit Midrash as we see in our mind's eye, our soul's eye, Sabbath the bride arriving. Ovi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzola, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, boi chala. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. 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 On page 28. Now please remain standing. Baruch Hu can be found on page 28. We'll join together.
La 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 la, ya la 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 la,
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la,
ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
As you may be seated, as darkness is beginning to set in, we are sensing all the changes in the rhythm that come with the move from daytime into night. It is not just a change out there in the solar system, it's also a change that takes place within us as well. Changed are we by the arrival and disappearance of light, by the coming of evening as well. And so let us take notice of these changes, these gifts, and make meaning with them as we join together in the English at the bottom of page 31. I invite you to read with me. This is an hour of change. Within it, we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, ha-ma'ariv aravim. In celebration of the gift of Torah in our lives, the bottom of page 33. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works, in the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Page 34. I am here, I am now, asking when, asking how. Only I, only thou, only one.
Fill my heart, fill my soul. I am part of this whole. I will sing out my
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad. Tomorrow in our main sanctuary, up the path, up our promenade, Ryan Grunauer will become a bar mitzvah as he reads from our Sefer Torah, leads our congregation in prayer, and so gets a little opportunity to lead our congregation in prayer tonight as well. Our Ve'ahavta can be found on page 36. The words of Ve'ahavta are a celebration of the gift of Torah and our commitment to demonstrating our love for God by embracing Torah with love as well. And of course, the Ve'ahavta teaches that we are to teach these precepts, the commandments, the mitzvot of our tradition diligently to our children. The Grunauer family has passed along these mitzvot, these customs, these traditions to a new generation. And so it's my pleasure to invite Ryan forward to lead us in Ve'ahavta tonight. Again, we're on page 36.
Ve'ahavta Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha v'veitecha u'veftecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha v'kshartam le'o ayadecha v'hayu letotafo bein einecha uv'veftam amnezazot beitecha uvisarecha lema'an tizkaru v'asitem eko mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim le'lohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihio lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
Our prayer of liberation, Michamocha, can be found on page 40. Before we join in that prayer, I want to share some beautiful words of poetry about that consequential moment in our people's story, read just a few weeks ago in our Sefer Torah, the story of the parting of the sea, their exodus on dry land into an uncertain future, a future of wandering that would ultimately lead them to the promised land. This is that moment captured by the poet Muriel Rukeyser. High above shores and times, I on the shore forever and ever. Moses, my brother, has crossed over to milk, honey, that holy land, building Jerusalem. I sing forever on the seashore. I do remember horsemen and horses, waves of passage poured into war, all poured into journey. My unseen brothers have gone over, chariots, deep seas under. I alone, here, ankle deep, and I sing, until the lands sing to each other. Page 40.
Kamoch haba elim Adonai, kamoch haneder b'chodesh, norat tehilot oseh peret, norat tehilot oseh peret. Malchutecha ra'u banecha, modeh hayam libnei Moshe u'Miriam, zehelianu ve'anu, zehelianu ve'amru, Adonai yimlok le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimlok le'olam va'ed. La 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 la.
In a moment, we're going to join together in singing our nighttime prayer, Hashkivenu, whose words can be found in the bottom right-hand corner of the supplemental page you received along with your prayer book, to help open our hearts to the wonders that night can bring, to the beauty, not just the anxiety that is often found for us in the dark, but the peace that we hope and pray will be there waiting for us when darkness comes. We have these beautiful words written by Rainer Maria Rilke. Quiet friend who has come so far, feel how your breathing makes more space around you. Let this darkness be a bell tower, and you, the bell. As you ring, what batters you becomes your strength. Move back and forth into the change. What is it like, such intensity of pain? If the drink is bitter, turn yourself to wine. In this uncontainable night, be the mystery at the crossroads of your senses, the meaning discovered there. And if the world has ceased to hear you, say to the silent earth, I flow. To the rushing water, speak, I am. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom, L'shalom, V'ha'amidenu Malkeinu L'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe
God, wrong from right. Amen. Amen.
Our Amidah, our standing prayer begins on page 46. I invite you to rise in all the ways you're able.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, El Hagadol, Hagibor, v'Hanora, El Elyon, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני,
מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Continue our prayers in silence through page 62. It's also a time, of course, to look deep within your own heart for the prayers that reside there. Let us spend this time in quiet prayer. I invite you to remain standing or to be seated whenever you're ready.
On this path of peace, on this road I'm walking, singing songs to you, on this path of peace, and it's a long, long road, and I'm always walking. You are everywhere. I feel you walk with me. You put me in a holy place and walk with me in the morning. You let the sun shine on my face. So here I am, here you are. You put me in a holy place and gave me the moon this evening, bringing to light my darkened space. So here I am, here you are. On this road I'm walking, singing songs to you. On this path of peace, singing songs to you. I feel you walk with me.
The very first word in this week's Torah portion, Tetzaveh, concludes with the birth of a phrase that has become beloved throughout the Jewish world for the way it ultimately got translated in every Jewish sanctuary you have ever or will ever pray in. The phrase is Ner Tamid. And in the Torah, it describes the lamps that the biblical Israelites kept burning at all times in the traveling sanctuary that they assembled and reassembled throughout their journey across the wilderness to the promised land. Back then, they did it by beating olives into olive oil and then used the oil to fuel the flame. Nowadays, we do it with the holy assistance of the Department of Water and Power. At least that is how this Ner Tamid back here, this eternal light, is kept burning even when this prayer space is empty. The same is true of the eternal light in our main sanctuary, which is one of the few ritual features that has been with our congregation ever since its years at its previous location on San Vicente Boulevard. That is going back to the 1950s, and it was brought to this location when our temple moved here in 1963. And kept on burning day and night in our new sanctuary, starting in 2009. Eternal light, indeed. A fair number of congregations, including the one that I previously served in New York before I came to Leo Beck Temple, prefer to rock it old school, or at least a little more old school by removing electricity from the equation. Most of these synagogues use the week-long burning candles that most of us associate with the observance of Shiva after a death. They kindle one, and then the members of the community join in assuming the responsibility for making sure that a new light is always kindled before the dwindling one should ever go out. Either approach is ritually valid from a standpoint of Jewish practice. The important part is that the light is present and undying. And the symbolism is hard to miss. Right in front of the ark that holds our Sifrei Torah, the Torah scrolls that make this the single holiest spot in any Jewish congregation, light can always be found. In the ancient Midrash, the legends that were written 2,000 years ago by our earliest sages, this light is described as something of a reciprocal act on the part of the Jewish people. Just as God has shown light upon us through the gift of Torah, so do we give light back to God. Of course, the Torah makes it pretty clear that the DWP can't handle the part that Ner Tamid shines to symbolize. Yes, this light burns to demonstrate our commitment to giving light to God. But it is our actions in alignment with the light of Torah that truly create the light for which humankind was created. This light only reflects this light. So the Ner Tamid might then be seen as a mechanism for keeping us honest. Do my actions in the world resemble light? Do they shed light upon others? It was this supposition about that small, ever-present light that never goes out in a Jewish sanctuary that is represented in the prophet Isaiah's words, "And nations shall walk by your light," our collective light. It is an overwhelming charge, a demand upon the Jewish people, this little light, a demand, frankly, that we fail much too frequently to meet. No matter how hard times may get for us as Jews, the responsibility symbolized by the Ner Tamid never diminishes. In times of war, such as this time, even in those moments when Jews are justifiably struggling for their very lives, we are children of a tradition that calls upon us to be the kind of light by which other nations might walk, even as we fight, perhaps most of all in how we fight. Yes, a higher standard which we place upon ourselves. These are days in which the bright light of that standard is hard for us to look at. We are inclined to shield our eyes from it. But our yearning for an end to the unimaginable mounting misery we are observing each day in Gaza, our yearning for an end to the war, a return of the hostages, a resumption of normalcy for displaced and terrorized Israelis, a renewed commitment to the dignity of self-determination for both Israelis and Palestinians side by side on land that is indigenous to both. That yearning cries for us not to avert our gaze. Do not look away. The Ner Tamid, the eternal light, whispers to us. Do not numb from the horror or succumb to the fear of futility. See the light. Be the light. Of course, it is a big world, and there are many places beyond Israel and Gaza where we are called to be the kind of light by which nations might walk. One of those troubled corners of the world, of course, is Ukraine, where 2 years ago Russia escalated its hostilities to a full-fledged war aimed at ending the country's independence entirely. At the beginning, a rare clarity emerged from a unified Washington, D.C. about how obviously indefensible this attack was and how the civilized nations of the world must unite to repel it. However, political will is never a reliable commodity when it must be sustained. And there are those in this country and in others who are ready to turn their backs on the Ukrainian people. Find your own light to walk by, they say, while we as Jews do not and cannot. Many of you are aware that Leobeck Temple was among the first congregational participants in what is now known as Hias's Welcome Circle program for Ukrainians who seek humanitarian parole in the United States. In fact, even before the Biden administration's Uniting for Ukraine program was formulated, the first of what would become 3 separate welcome circles, catalyzed by members of our temple, was already working to settle one Ukrainian family here in California. Each of these welcome circles has been founded by our congregants who have recruited others both within and beyond the temple as partners. And the temple has offered its institutional and administrative support. We are delighted tonight to welcome to our Shabbat community one of those three Ukrainian families, the Podobniaks, Dasha, Slava, Misha, and Christina. For the Podobniaks, the war started not in 2022, but in 2014. They were living in the Donbas region of Ukraine at the time, the easternmost area that directly borders Russia. As a result, they lost everything: their home, their food business. The Russians destroyed their equipment. They fled then for Kharkiv, and later fled again for Kiev. Resiliently, they built new lives there, a new home, new opportunities for the kids. Dasha went to work in the banking industry, and Slava became the marketing director for a Ukrainian grain elevator manufacturer. However, 2 years ago, the Russians began bombing Kiev, and the Podobniaks were left to seek refuge in their basement. After 5 nights of abject terror, Dasha and Slava concluded that they had no choice but to leave for the sake of saving their children. And they escaped to Berlin with Slava's father. They chose Germany for its relative proximity to Ukraine and because there is some German heritage on Dasha's side of the family. Once in Germany, the family was settled by the social service in a dormitory. Their new environs were nothing like their old. They lived together, a family of 4, in one single room, sharing a communal kitchen and bathroom with other residents. For 1 full year, this is how they got by, 1 full year. Dasha was able to work remotely for her bank in Ukraine. Slava turned his attention to volunteering to help other Ukrainian refugees. They then applied to HIAS, seeking sponsors in the United States who would make them eligible for humanitarian parole under the Biden policy. And our welcome circle was matched with them. Tonight, we also welcome many of the members of that welcome circle, led by our congregants Jackie and Jeff Friedman. Some of you are also Leo Beckers, but many of you are not. And so we are delighted to greet all of you tonight as our guests as well. The Podobniaks landed in Los Angeles in May of this past year, and the Welcome Circle instantly sprung into action. They settled in Jackie's mother's home shortly after she had died, and they rediscovered peace and calm and front and back yards in which their children could play. They became friends with their new neighbors and have retained those friendships even after moving to their current apartment in Valley Village. The Welcome Circle obtained summer camperships for Misha and Christina at Campbell Hall's day camp, where they could have fun and make new friends. Any of you ever had kids who went to Campbell Hall's day camp in the summer? We have a number of Temple families whose kids go to school at Campbell Hall during the body of the year. The kids came to Los Angeles with English skills, but after a great summer at camp, they were aficionados of the language. Misha is now a student at Walter Reed Middle School, and Christina goes to Colfax Elementary School. As for their parents, Dasha took 2 classes in English and is now has a beautiful facility with the language. In fact, this is a family of 4 that speaks Ukrainian, Russian, German, and English. And that is the kind of thing that absolutely mystifies Americans. Misha's all-star soccer team placed 3rd in the Southern California Finals. Christina continues to wow others with her talents as a painter, just like her mom. Work, however, as you might imagine, remains the hardest part of the equation. Dasha is trying to set up a clothing business with Ukrainian-inspired art. And Slava loved working in the financial section of Jeff's law firm, but the position was only temporary. So now they are both looking for work, which is where we, seers of that light back there, come into the story. See, there's only so much the Welcome Circle volunteers can make happen on their own. Only so many professional contacts that they can provide to Dasha and Slava as a network. But if you add everyone in attendance here tonight, and also that doesn't just include those of you who are here with us in our Beit Midrash, it includes those of you who are joining us via our live stream. The networking tree turns into a forest. Dasha and Slava are accomplished, bright, extraordinarily courageous. My watch is talking to me. Stop doing that. They have demonstrated time and time again a kind of resiliency that most of us cannot even imagine, much less achieve. What employer would not benefit from all of those gifts? Even if you are not in a position to hire, I hope that you will take a moment to introduce yourself tonight and to offer a follow-up conversation that might lead to more contacts. That's something each and every one of us can do. And that goes for all of you who are praying with us online as well. Please contact me or anyone in our temple office this coming week, and we will happily connect you with Dasha and Slava so that you can do your part in creating the kind of light in which these sturdy souls from another nation can walk. And if, just by chance, you are thinking to yourself, it is great that my temple does this sort of thing, but it's not like every single one of us has to do it, right? For you, I will conclude with a teaching about this week's Torah portion written by our Hasidic masters in the 19th century, who noticed that the Ner Tamid, the eternal lights in the biblical sanctuary, were kindled michutz la parochet, outside the curtain. So they weren't a sanctuary kind of thing. They were an everybody kind of thing. Said they, Jews must light the Ner Tamid each in their own hearts, not only in synagogue or in school. They must light it outside the curtain, in street and marketplace, in routine activities, in all matters relating them to their fellow human beings. Ner, they said, is a Hebrew acrostic which stands for Nefesh Ruach, a soul with spirit. That, said the Hasidic sages, that is the lamp that we must light regularly. This light only reflects this light. Let the nations walk by your light. Amen.
burning bright into the night. Be the voice for those who cannot raise it. Be the one who leads the way through the world's darkest days. Be the light. Be the light. Be the light.
When days feel long and all that's left inside you are darkest days, reach for the light to guide you. The miracle of change begins with sparks of light we find within that shine. If we come close together, we will see a people strong, a shared humanity. Transform darkness into light, to lead with love instead of might. We shine, we shine. Be the light, be the light inside the darkness. Be the hope, burning bright into the night. Be the voice for those who cannot raise it. Be the one who leads the way through the world's darkest days. Be the light, be the light, be the light. Be the light. Be the light.
We have the opportunity to be the light for those in our lives who are in need of healing, be it of body or of mind or of spirit. So if today you're thinking of someone who could use some light in their dark times, we invite you to share their names with us so that we can take them into our hearts, and we'll join together in our prayer for healing, or Mishaberach. We'll begin on this side of the room, and if there is a name you'd like to share, please do so. Join together in the words of Mishaberach, page 253 in the middle of the page.
Mishaberach avotenu mikol habracha leimotenu. May of strength, who blessed the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishetera bimotenu mekol habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Aleinu can be found at the bottom of page 282. As you're able, please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 287.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד, ושמו אחד, ושמו אחד.
Some words to help us prepare for the recitation of Mourner's Kaddish, words not found in the prayer book. These things I know, how the living go on living, and how the dead go on living with them. So that in a forest, even a dead tree casts a shadow, and the leaves fall one by one, and the branches break in the wind, and the bark peels off slowly, and the trunk cracks. And the rain seeps through the cracks, and the trunk falls to the ground, and the moss covers it. And in the spring, the rabbits find it and build their nest inside the dead tree, so that nothing is wasted in nature or in love. As we prepare to recite the Kaddish prayer this evening, we remember especially Eleanor Arts, Dorothy Abrams, David Abrams, Erwin Barnett, Irene Bilski, Judith Ann Bloom, Harold Brecker, Nettie Pulitzer Carmel, Diane Castro, Lillian Berenson Cohen, Erna DeVerdi, Berna Duboff, Lorena Erler, Bert Fendelman, Julia S. Fink, Michael Fournier, Monique Friedman, Charlie Garrison, Ann Geller, Charles Giardino, Harry Glazer, Lucille Greenberg, Mark Grillo, Fillmore Hillman, Mary Keston, Sylvia Kybell, Chaim Krut, Janita Lauterbach, Michael Miller, Walter Mirisch, Dorothy Perlman, Arthur Schlesinger, Marge Sclaver, Michael Schlieser, June Ebert Smith, Harriet Soares, Herbert Spector, Alfred Spivak, Elm Weingarten, Helena Weingarten, Rita Williams. Are there other names we should include? If so, please speak them aloud. In loving memory of them and all those who we name in our hearts, we say, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, the memory of the righteous is an everlasting blessing. Together let us give thanks for the blessing of life. The words of Mourner's Kaddish found on page 294. As you are able, please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach chilutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chaye echon uvyom echon, uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'yisman kariv imru amen. Yehe shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam ulalmei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shemei dekudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, ta'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yesh lama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, u'ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen. May the giver of peace send peace to all who mourn, comfort to all who are bereaved among us, and let us together say, Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, u'yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Shabbat shalom.